everyone. Welcome to the Dr. Music Podcast. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and my subscribers. I wouldn't be able to do this without you. Please, if you haven't subscribed, consider hitting that button so I can bring you great guests like the one I have today, Miss Casandra Carson. Cassandra is a guitarist as well as one of the most powerful and talented vocalists in rock and roll for sure. She can normally be found fronting hard rock band Paralandra, which she started with her father in 2013. Not too many people can say that, but she has been busy on another project with guitar great George Lynch. The project is called Cassandra's Crossing, and the record is called Garden of Earthly Delights. It comes out October 25th on Frontiers Records, and I am so excited to have you, Cassandra. Thank you so much. I have to say, I went down the rabbit hole, the Casandra Carson rabbit hole. There's a whole bunch of stuff there. But I see your posts on Facebook and things like that and Instagram. And you went up another level for me, man. You posted a picture with Nick Bocat, Grim Reaper. And I'm from, I'm a
Yes.
old guy. I'm from that time. One of my favorite bands from that time. But then it just elevated even more. You post a song that's so deep in their catalog. It's probably my favorite Grim Reaper song, The Show Must Go On. And I thought, oh my
What?
God. Yeah. It's like, who is this girl? It's great
That is
to see.
awesome.
It's really cool to see. And then I go and of course I see this 12-year-old girl that looks like you killing the riff on Walk This Way at a Cinco de Mayo party. Actually, she looks nothing like
Wow. You really dug deep.
yeah, it was so cool. And your dad, I don't know what happened to him over the course of years. You guys are just I love your story. I just love your story. And I have a son and a daughter, and my bond with my daughter is very similar, I think. We're kind of inseparable. We're best friends. And I love seeing that. It's really cool. Um,
That's awesome. I
yeah,
love that.
it's cool. The Toto cover, Cruel, Kick Ass, just all kinds of stuff you got out there.
Yes. That was so much fun.
It had to be. Wow, is that a cool session? Really cool. And I'll post things so people can check this out. I'll post that for sure. But you got this thing going on with George. And George, I know he's been on the show a few times. He is an interesting, deep person. Just a really great guy, incredible guitar player. I think he's one of the best ever. How was it? How did this come about? And I know your boyfriend plays in the Lynch Mob. So did that have anything? How did this come about with George? You and George getting together for this project.
Sure. It's kind of a long story, but yes, Jaron has a little to do with it. So it all kind of originates back to I had special guested with them on the song Street Fighting Man back in 2019 in Colorado Springs, and it was totally by chance. Like I was there with Tantric, which was Jaron's band at the time, and they knew the venue owner, so they were able to like sneak us into the back of the VIP line so we could meet George. But while we were there, we just got to talking, and the guys were like, by the way, if you need somebody to sing Street Fighting Man tonight, Cassandra's your girl. Because we had been like messing around on that, like just at their sound checks for fun. And George was like, well, it's funny you should mention that because we have a fill-in singer tonight, and I don't think he knows all the songs. So that would be
Wow.
great, actually, if you could sing Street Fighting Man. And I was like, oh, well, okay then. And so I did that night. It went really great. It was really fun. And then fast forward a few years, Jaron ends up getting the gig as Lynch Mob's bass player, which was just a dream of a dream for him. George has been his favorite guitar player his whole life. So this was just like crazy. So then last October of 2023, I decided to, on one of my rare weekends off, go see Jaren and go see the show and hang out. And when I arrived, George was like, "Oh my gosh, we should do Street Fighting Man again tonight. Do you want to sing it with us?" And I was like, "Well, of course. I still know it, so let's do it." And it went even better that time. It was so much fun. And after the show, I was serving as George's runner to drive him immediately off of the stage back to the hotel after the show. So as we were in the car, we were just talking about, we had a great time performing together. George was saying how much he loved my energy and my voice. And anyway, it was a really fun conversation. And I jokingly was like, well, next time we got to do some Dirty Shirley. That would be really cool. And he's like, Dirty Shirley? Like, well, yes, of course. Dino Jalusic is like my favorite singer, and
Amazing.
it's you. So yes, I know. And anyway, so he was like, it's funny you should say that, because he was going into the studio the next week to record the second Dirty Shirley album, but Dino would not be singing on it. So he was looking for a singer. And right then and there, he just told me I should do it and asked me if I wanted to. And I was like, yeah,
Cool.
sure. Let's do it. And one thing led to another. I would say 2 weeks later, I had a full album in my email. And I was starting to write lyrics and melodies from there. And literally a year later, we're here now getting ready to release this album. So it's crazy how fast everything happened and just random.
Yeah, and that is so cool. That is so cool. So this is kind of it's not Dirty Shirley. Obviously, it's not the Dirty Shirley we know, but this would have been these songs. Well, I mean, you've changed them, obviously, but George took that music that for the next Dirty Shirley album and sent it to you, and you did your thing with it, correct?
So George actually said that he wrote these songs with my vocals in mind, with my voice in mind. So that was really cool. But the goal was to stay within that blues rock type of vibe genre.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and it worked. I mean, you fit these songs. It's a match made in heaven. It's really cool. Um, One of the first things I noticed when this came in is the cover art. It's intricate and detailed. It reminded me of like the Maiden covers from the 80s, Somewhere in Time or Power Slave, where there's little notes on little signs, and you could look at it for hours and see stuff. That's what this record looks like. And it does remind me of some of the Paralandra, the Street Magic record. Even the Body Electric has a similar vibe. Same artist? Or is that the same artist that you had for the Paralandra records?
No, it's not. That's
Not.
a great question though. Paralandra uses David Frizzell, which he has done art for, I mean, Disturbed, Avenged Sevenfold. He's the guy that drew the original Death Bat. And he happens to be local here in Springfield, Missouri. So that's who
Cool.
Paralandra uses. But Alex Dale is who we used for the Cassandra's Crossing artwork. And the whole Garden of Earthly Delights, like the concept was George's idea. And I was obsessed with it. Paralandra has used kind of this Garden of Eden theme in the past. So I felt like connected to the idea already. But yeah, the more that we kind of like developed it and kept shooting the artist ideas, we kept coming up with new versions. We finally finalized, I guess, the last artwork, and we originally had a different working title, but George ended up coming up with the Garden of Earthly Delights just based on the artwork. And
Yeah.
I think it's really cool. I love a good piece of artwork that you, like you said, you can sit and stare at it like
Yeah.
while you listen to the album and just constantly be finding new little things and little like Easter eggs and stuff.
Right. Yeah. And this is one of those albums you definitely want to get the vinyl. You want that big artwork, for sure. It's really cool. It's really
Right.
cool. Um, I see videos out there. You got two singles, Stranger and Closer to Heaven. Closer to Heaven just coming out. But the videos I see,
Three, actually.
oh, do you? What's the other single?
Impatient. That was the second single.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so sorry about that. I missed that one as a single.
All
Um
good.
the visualizer videos are out there. But I don't see a formal standard video with you guys in it, or the pictures and all the usual video. Do you plan on doing any of that?
That is in the plans. I definitely want to record music videos. For me and George, we just want to make sure that whatever we do for a music video, that it is epic and awesome. We don't want to just like go into a room and just like play the songs under cool lighting. Like it's just kind of the industry standard now, but I feel like it doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
So for us, we kind of have been holding out and waiting until we can do something that's like really awesome and epic and serves the song and matches like what we've done musically, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah, and I really look forward to that. It's cool. And you guys are so visual. Both of you are just you're fun to look at. I mean, you're a beautiful woman. He's a great looking guy that looks just incredible with his guitars. It's just it's a visual with the sound. It'd be tremendous. It'd be tremendous. One of the standout tracks for me, Waltzing Nights. Love that track. Absolutely love that track. And
Thank you.
well, I'm thinking to
That was the first
myself,
one I wrote.
really, really.
Yeah.
You're like the female Miles Kennedy to me, and I won't say that lightly because
Wow.
Miles is one of my favorite singers. I absolutely love the deep emotion in his voice and all of that, all of his little nuances and phrasings, and he's just great. And you do so much of that, and that song really reminded me of Miles and just the way it was presented, and it was so great to hear. That song just hits me differently. I
Oh,
love the
thank
record,
you.
but that one just hits me differently. Is there a song on the record that it was just magical for you like that? Are obviously all your babies, they're your kids. But is there one that kind of hits you a little bit differently?
Well, first off, I just have to say Miles Kennedy has been my favorite singer forever. So thank you. I love to hear that he has rubbed off on me a little bit.
Yeah.
But Waltzing Nights was definitely one of those songs that came naturally. It was the first one that I wrote. I feel like it just kind of spoke to me immediately. And I was like, okay, this is how this song is going to go. Another Closer to Heaven, and it's out now. So I'm super excited for everybody to hear it. But that was one of those songs that I wasn't really sure how George was going to like it. Because the song for me is a prayer and just kind of like a cry out to God, like, asking for some kind of success in my music career. And whenever I sent the demo to him, he called me immediately and was like, "Oh my God, are you kidding me with this song? It's so good." And he was so over the top, loved it. And
Cool.
I was just really proud of myself in that moment and really felt like I had accomplished something great in writing that song.
Absolutely, you did. Yeah. And like I say, this whole album is filled with great stuff, and it was cool. I've had Michael Sweet on, and I've had George on, both of them quite a few times, and to see those two together because they're very different people, but they're both very understanding and considerate and respectful and to so I can see George getting your message and appreciating it because they I think those two really grew together and like yourself, There's I can feel a vibe here. Now, I mean, you weren't in the same room, right? This wasn't done live. He sent you tracks, you did your vocals over it. It was put together. That's a standard way now. But
Right.
I feel a live energy in it, and it has a lot to do with the band too. You have Alessandro
Mm.
Dokken, right, playing bass. He is the Frontiers guy.
Yep.
He's just you can't even explain the talent from that guy. Jordan Kanata on drums. What a gift to this record. He's amazing too.
Yeah. So I didn't actually ever hear any of Jordan's drum tracks until I was in the studio getting ready to lay down my final vocals. So all of my demos were just recorded to that very basic drum loop. So in particular, the song Ring Me Around threw me for a loop. Like, oh my gosh. It was this like four on the floor kind of beat originally. And then whenever I started recording, his drums were just like they're doing this weird groove. They're all over the place, kind of gave it like a swing in a way. And I was not expecting it, but it made the song so much cooler. And he did that with so many of the songs where he just kind of elevated it to another level that I didn't even see it possibly going to.
Yeah.
So, like, truly what Jordan and Alessandro brought to this music, I mean, it's unparalleled. Like, they did the Lord's work on this album.
It's an amazing band, and I've seen Jordan, like Slaughter, and Zoltan, very similar type of performance kind of live thing with those two. They're animals, but you hear it come out, because I hadn't really heard Jordan.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah, oh, totally. But I hadn't really heard Jordan on a record. So, I was waiting to, when I heard it, I was like, yes, this is, he's attacking. It's a whole, you can see him play almost when you hear the music. It's pretty cool.
I was watching Jordan for the first time with Slaughter on the Monsters of Rock cruise, and he did this huge drum solo. It was insane. And as everybody rises to give him a standing ovation, I realized the guy in front of me is Kenny Aronoff. And he's like going nuts. I was like, geez, like this guy's got Kenny Aronoff out of his seat. Like,
yeah,
he's incredible.
Oh man, yeah, and Kenny's maybe one of the best ever.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's so cool. I love seeing stuff like that. That's really cool. And Jordan is amazing. Just amazing. I'm used to seeing you with a guitar in your neck. And for Paralandra, I mean, your dad's a guitar player, but you play guitar as well. But you're this amazing voice. I think of you as a singer that plays guitar. What about for you? I see these posts and you're going out to join George and you're playing Mr. Scary, which is an instrumental, as we most of us know. So you're not using your voice, which is incredible to me. Especially playing guitar next to George. Got to be intimidating. So, you can't be mediocre. You have to be a great guitar player to stand there and play with him,
I guess so. I feel a little bit of imposter syndrome. I'm not going to lie. But, being in Paralandra where I'm playing in a band with my dad, and my dad is like one of the greatest guitar players in my perspective. So I feel like I'm already like constantly trying to keep up with an outstanding guitar player anyways. So then we actually we cover Mr. Scary every once in a while in our set. And that's why I know it. So then whenever I go to play it with George, it's kind of just the same thing. It's like, okay, now I got to keep up with this amazing guitar player and play these parts. And so it's just kind of, it's almost like the same, but it's really not, because then I look over and there's Mr. Scary just
it's not your
ripping
dad.
it up. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But the fact that you mentioned Miles Kennedy, and the fact that you view me more as a singer that plays guitar is funny because I always resonated with Miles and the fact that I always felt like a guitar player first and then ended up becoming a singer. So yeah, it's interesting how people view it. They've got different perspectives. So.
Yeah, I mean, I took voice lessons early in my life, and I love the voice, especially the female voice. I think there's so much to it. So I'm kind of a singer type of listener, you might say too.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, love the guitar playing, but it's a total package. It's just wonderful. What you do is crazy great.
I appreciate it.
Casandra's Crossing is the name of the band. The presentation here. I thought, is this yours with George playing on it? Is this a one-off thing? Will there be another Cassandra's Crossing record, maybe with a different guitar player? Is this a solo project, so to speak?
It was not intended to be a solo project. I mean, whenever I, was hired, I signed just a work for hire for this one album. So it was really George's project that he was asking me to sing on.
Right.
So then once all the songs were written, we kind of were discussing it with Frontiers and we felt like, I don't know, this is just like so unique. We feel like this project deserves its own name, instead of kind of being pigeonholed as Dirty Shirley Part 2, because then there would be like this comparison between the two, and they're two different beasts entirely. So we were throwing out all kinds of different potential band names, and George is the one that actually suggested Cassandra's Crossing, and everybody at Frontiers loved it, and I was taken aback. I was like, what? Why do you want to call it that? But I never wanted to be in a band that was like Cassandra and the Troublemakers or like whatever. Right. I figured like band names just should be cool on their own. Like I didn't ever want it to be just about me. But this one seems to have latched on really well and people really like it. I feel like it suits the music actually now. I feel like it really fits well. So it's growing on me.
Yeah. And I mean, you're so humble but you're such a force. You really, really are. I listened to the Paralandra stuff and this stuff, and like I say, you offer so much musically, and it's just it's tremendous what you do. It really.
Oh, thank you. I do my best.
Yeah, you sure do. There's no doubt about that. When you're on the road with your dad, does he ever wear his dad hat? I mean, he's the consummate rock star. I mean, you see him and you guys, I mean, he's just a great looking dude, and he looks, 20 years younger than he is. But it's I know you got some flack from early on, you're not supposed to be in a band with your dad. All of the bull that comes with that. But do you ever, is he ever dad? Does he come on, Cassandra, not too many drinks, or put some clothes on, or any of that going on?
Honestly, no, he hasn't dadded me in that way. He's very much like he lets me be my own person and wear whatever clothes I want to wear. And he's never like told me, you need to not be drinking so much or whatever. I don't feel like I have a problem, but I mean, there's been nights that I've gotten a little crazier than others. But in general, like he's really a bandmate and a manager of the band. I mean, he wears the role as my dad as well. Also just like, our best friend. My dad feels very much like one of the guys. And, it's, I feel like we're kind of just this 4-piece, like, everybody's 25%. And my dad is no exception. He's just like, another quarter piece of the puzzle that, is essential. So Yeah, it doesn't really feel like I'm being parented on the road.
Yeah, yeah, and it doesn't look like. I mean, you guys, the presentation of the band is great. I mean, it just has a great look, a great feel, and like I say, I love your story. It's really cool. Um, when you were doing the songs for Cassandra's Crossing, did it ever feel like when you do a Paralandra record? I would imagine it's a lot different.
It wasn't as much like doing a Paralandra record, but it was very similar to writing L.I.F.E Project songs.
Right. Right. And,
Yeah.
and I heard you got something going on there. Little birdie told me you got L.I.F E Project still happening.
Oh yeah, I was just in the studio like 2 weeks, or maybe it was last week. I lose track of time, but recording some of the next music. I'm going back into the studio in December to record some more for the L.I.F E Project. So yeah, we're still very busy behind the scenes and have big plans for next year.
Man, oh man. L.I.F E Project, Paralandra, the Cassandra's Crossing stuff. Anything else we don't know about?
Well, I mean, yeah, like
Wow.
I released a single with a band called Beyond the Gray in August, called Unconditional. That is a really cool song. So I also have that out there. I'm potentially going to be guesting on an Australian band called Delacoma. They've got a single that they're talking about releasing next year that they'd like me to guest on. So I'm kind of like always putting my fingers in something.
It is so cool. And your humility is, you're so humble. And you're obviously in demand. I mean, that's pretty obvious. You got to feel that. But it's great, and it says a lot about your parents, the way you're brought up, and it has a lot to do with your story. Once again,
Absolutely.
you
My dad is like the most humble human being on planet Earth to a fault. Like, I don't think he actually realizes how amazing he is.
yeah.
So I've adopted a little bit of that. I try to keep reality, in there too, keep myself grounded. But
Yeah, and it's so great to see. It really is. Do you ever think you'll play these songs live, the Cassandra Crossing stuff?
I hope so. Paralandra and Lynch Mob are actually doing a bunch of shows together, January through March of next year. So
Okay.
my plan is to convince George of doing some songs. We'll see what happens.
Man, that would be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
You're out with Paralandra coming up, right? Before that, even, right? You got a couple of dates. Anything else on the live track? It's touring. You got the Paralandra stuff. Are you going to be out? Anything else?
So as far as touring goes, Paralandra will be on the road for the rest of the year. We are out on tour with Tantric and Scotty Austin from Saving Abel.
Yeah.
And so we'll be honestly all over the States doing that. We'll actually be close to Chicago.
I know you are.
I'm going to say November 27th.
In West
Or no,
Chicago.
October 27th.
Yeah, something like that. And I'm, of course, going to be in England.
No.
Yeah, it's I saw the dates, and then there's another one too, right when I come back, which is possible, in Iowa, I think, in Des Moines.
Oh.
So it's a 2.5 hours, no problem. But it's like the day after I come back, so we'll have to see.
See if you have any energy left.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
well,
blame
yeah,
you if you stayed home.
and yeah, and if my wife's gonna want me to get things straightened out, maybe.
Yeah, right.
But we'll see. We'll see. I'd love to. And also I'm a photographer, and you guys, like I say, the visual for you guys is, the energy. I see these live photos of you, and it's just and the band is just it's just it's the photographer's dream, to photograph you guys. So
We have a lot of fun.
yeah, it looks like, I'm looking at these photos and you guys are smiling and you're together and it's just, it's a really cool vibe. So I would love to capture that. So we will see, and I'll be in touch too, and I hope to make something like that. And I don't want to not mention the Body Electric.
Yes.
That's a new album, came out in April for Paralandra. And that's got to be exciting too. You've got that to play on this tour. Just great
Yes.
music there. So cool.
It feels good to finally get this album out there. A lot of these songs we have actually been performing live since like 2015, and we just haven't been able to get around to recording them until now, because it takes a lot of time and effort and money to pay for something like that,
Yeah.
and to actually do it. So it feels great. It feels kind of like a part two to Street Magic, like just getting the rest of them out there. So yeah, it's super exciting.
Again, and that record, a powerful record. And it's not overbearing, like, always coming at you. There's peaks and valleys, but you rarely hear a ballad from you guys, something really soft. And we get that on that record too.
Yeah.
Love My Life. And it's just, that was great to hear too.
Oh, thank you.
Another facet of your voice, that we don't always get. So
Right.
just just great what you do. Love your story. Love you guys as a family, and that's just it's great to have the music. Thank you for sharing yourself.
I appreciate it. Thanks for
Yeah.
spreading the word. I mean, it means the world to me that people are even interested and, want to hear about my music, want to listen to it. So it's an
Yeah.
honor for me.
We got a lot out there. So people
I
can.
can see your collection back there. So
Yes, absolutely. And you've got so much to offer. And I'll have links down there and all the things you mentioned. People can dive down the rabbit hole themselves and visit all things Cassandra.
awesome.
I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much. This was so much
Yes.
fun.
Thank you so much for your time, and sorry about the connectivity. I'm really
No,
sorry about that.
no problem at all. It was a lot of fun.
I'm glad we
Always,
got through it.
yes, absolutely. And let's do it again. My door's always open.
Awesome. Love it. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.
See ya.
Bye bye.